Hi LinkedIn, we are still here, we're still answering questions and it is fun. So, brilliant question for this moment in time, and it's something that everybody has been doing now, but how could we help people do this better? So Dean, there's nobody better to go to in terms of Mr. Tightness, but you're not tight. You're shrewd. If something's worth getting through for the IDLC, I just don't ask you anymore, I'll go straight to Dan. So, tips on how to run a super lean business. Now, you're brilliant at this, obviously, from running that PLC that had to basically trade through some really tough times and make some massively tough decisions. Your skill set and keeping a business lean but productive are legendary. Do you want to just give us an idea of some of the things that you might have been doing now or always that people can lean against?
Yeah, I can do. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to cover exactly what went on because I've done it at numerous lunches, but I was always about efficiencies beforehand. I've never been one to be infected by hubris and overspend. I always looked at ROI on everybody. I think we've discussed it before as a business. One of the things I did on every single consultant that joined my businesses was my return on investment. And the way I did that was I would track their earnings on their cost of their desks, which we know do actually vary quite wildly in terms of what people are spending on individuals these days. But the way I looked at it was that was my student loan to you as a recruiter. If it was $5,000, so the first month's 5, then the next month's 10, the next month's 15, and so on, right? But there becomes a point where they start to make money. There's a point where they start to go over their threshold. There's a point where they actually start to pay back the investment that you've made. Then there's a point where you both make money. And it is amazing sometimes how far that point can be stretched out. And you can sit with people sometimes and get them to understand, how much effort a business puts into getting you there. At the end of the year, you might look like a rock star on your final quarter or in the first quarter of the following year. But actually, it costs a lot of time, effort, input into that business. And I think sometimes people become detached from that and think it's just going to keep working. And they're not on top of their numbers. When they're doing their hires, they're just hiring. They don't know whether they've got the cash in a bank. They think they have because there's deals being done. But when you sit down and look at the data, and again, just going back to, I suppose, when I took over a PLC that acquired my business and then issued 2-year profit warnings, 30 million quid of debt. I had to, who had half 3. I had to get deep down and dirty, right? Because I didn't know what to do. I hadn't worked with most of these people before. And when you start to look at things in their black and white and not the emotion that's going on in the room about, this person actually used to be really good, or this, actually you say, well, hold on, right? I need to make some material changes on my head, be it. I'm going to take out this part of the business. And I did. And I looked at, if I'm paying this person and all this cost here, what have they got to bring me in to put a pound to my bottom line, right? Because actually sometimes there's dilution of costs, dilution of payment because your business development's bringing in deals, then you've got a consultant filling them and a resourcer, and you've got this team and this delivery team, and everybody's getting a slice of this cake. And the only person who doesn't get any slice of this cake is the business. And so you have to be on your data and on your business. And to do that, I just honestly think even when you're small as a business, you do need a good FD or a good CFO, but you need somebody who understands recruitment. Because I tell you this now, and you know this for a fact, because over the last 6 years, we've unpicked this for so many businesses. The accountant down the high street or your mate's friend who used to do, ledgers for a local business isn't going to be able to help you grow a recruitment business.
Only me? Oh, you don't want to do it like that. I don't believe you wanting to do that.
I love the fact that you said that, because everybody has got mothers, brothers, cousins, uncle doing their numbers, and they just don't get it. And when you ask someone to look at their P&L, well, it's a joke. And when you look at the MI that comes out of it, it's a joke. You don't need to hire a full-time FD. There's some brilliant people who would do it as Dan Ermson's a genius at this stuff. He will understand your numbers. He will give you insights that you hadn't even thought of. So I think just to wrap that into a nice sort of neat package with a bow, you need some science in terms of everything that you're doing. So if you know what your triggers to hire are, don't just hire willy-nilly. Make sure that you understand what your cost per desk is, what your good number is. So back in the day, for me, it used to be I was 4K cost per desk. I was generating 10K averages. If I take another 5 people on, I needed another 50 grand on my weekly on my monthly GP. So 2.5K times 5, which is, oh my God, why did I choose that number? So that's 10, so 12.5K. So 12.5K on my weekly GP, then I could trigger hiring again. So I knew that everybody in my business was generating me 6 grand per person, so 4K cost, 10K revenue, 6K per person, 72 grand. If I've got 10 people, 720 grand. I've got 100 people, 7.2 million. Simple as that. And that was a basic formula for growth. One of the things that I do think people are falling foul of at the moment is the boss keeps buying this new tech.
Good morning. Welcome to reception. I am reception bot.
So whatever's shiny, whatever's out there, whatever's new, they'll go out and buy because they think that will help me make more money. But it will, but what actually they're doing, because they're not tweaking any of the other dashboard numbers, they're making it easier for recruiters to hit the same 10 or 12K number, but you just increased your cost base. So why is the boss spending all this money? Surely then the threshold should go up. Or they need to, the consultants need to get together and work out, that's what it costs us extra a month. That's happening. Where do we find that money? So reduce your advertising, reduce the product here and there. Just don't get the coffee involved. Don't give them a proper P&L because they'll be arguing about the price of the coffee. But you say of all of these things, that's what you can turn down to do this. We're doing this. You go and find me that money, or it's going on your threshold. And stuff like that makes perfect sense.
It does make perfect sense. And look, from back when we did it back in in the computer futures days to now, the amount of rec tech and assistance. I do think on the flip side, competition's higher because barriers to entry are lower. But if I'm gonna put all this effort into making you so much better at your job and get you all this rec tech, there is a part that actually you're losing essentially parts of your job you don't have to do anymore. So you've got more time to focus on selling. You should be better at selling. So therefore, where you were looking, for your 10 grand a month on your desk, that was many, many years ago, right? And nobody should be looking for 10 grand a month on the desk now because the desk cost is double what it was back then. So why are we looking for 15s and 20s? I've given you all this rec tech, I've given you all this information. It's groups like the RDLC that we're members of that are giving all this phenomenal insight into recruitment. You should be doing more, okay? And if you're not doing more, what's the problem? Because that's the only way you're going to keep your business lean and agile and make sure that everybody, look, some people can hit certain numbers and some people can't. But as long as everybody's hitting the best they can hit, you've got a great company, all right? And I think that's what you look at.
You talk a lot about a pound saved is not the same as a pound earned, right? So we want pounds earned, but the minute COVID hit, where did everyone look? They went straight into their P&L, and they basically got a Sharpie out and went gone, 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 gone. Well, it was quite interesting, that exercise, because people right here, right now, are performing pretty well, right? So performance is going up and up and up. The whole bounce back effect. Every time Boris lets us out, we start increasing business, increasing sales, and the economy went up 15.5%. Every time he locks us down, I hate to see what the numbers are going to be this time around, but we're doing better with spending less. We should be taking some of those elements into everyday business. So review all of your cost base and look at ROIs annually. Try to renegotiate everything that you think, I'm getting value from this, that's fine. If I'm not getting value from this, we're either going to serve notice, or we're going to and use that money for something else, or renegotiate a price that you're happy to pay. And just be agile with this stuff. So take that whole sort of, there must be a benefit that came from COVID. This might be it, that everyone is just a little bit sharper in terms of operating costs, because businesses got fat, didn't they?
Yeah, they did get fat. And it happens. It happens in good markets all the time. I know in my market, when it was good many years ago, I had people join us from some of the really big, I had people join me from Capita back in the mid 2000s, and they joined us, and they were like, well, why haven't you got one of these and two of these and five of those? And it's like, because they don't make any money. And it was quite apparent then when the market changed that they didn't make any money, and that became an issue for them. I mean, actually, I'll tell you a funny story. My old chairman.
Funny, I'll be the judge. Go on then.
Yeah. Actually, it's not. Actually, you might find this one quite funny because it's about me. My old chairman used to give out this book to FDs, and he was on 22 boards. He's quite well known. I don't want to give him any oxygen, but it was. I think it's called 72 Ways to Improve Your Business's Finance or something, right? I can't remember what it was. American book, and I ordered it for one of the businesses I'm an investor in, but I'm also a NED on their board. And within a few weeks, I said, look, you want to read this? You want your FD on this? This is great. Within a few weeks, the whole board got a phone call and said, we're removing all NEDs and board, because obviously they're paying for this, right? We're removing everybody. And yeah, cheers. Thanks for that. And we'll come back to you. And it was like, okay. I was on holiday at the time. I thought nothing of it. It was it's not an issue. Next month, got a call, decided actually, we want to bring you back on, come back onto the board. And I was like, okay, what was all that about? Oh, that book you gave me. It said, get rid of everything and work out what you're missing and then take back on what you need, right? And sometimes it's just get rid of all the clutter and then work out which bits you miss in your business and get it back on board. And I know that sounds simplistic, and it is obviously a lot harder to do that. And I lived through it on the other side. So I know what it's like, but what a great exercise.
Okay, well, as a business that supports all of the RecTech kids at the space, there are probably a few bits that you can turn off or turn down, but though it's very difficult now that everyone's got these puppies that they're using all day long. I wonder if organisations look at what usage all of the recruiters are getting for the toolkit, the minute you take them away, they'll scream blue murder, say that's the most important thing in the world to me. But if they're not using it, then they shouldn't have it. That's the answer. I've got two more bits for you. One, we should outsource everything that we can that's non-core, right? So I truly believe that don't try and build up a business with your own accounts and finance team. It'll get to a point when you will want to have a permanent FD and you'll want to have some people internally. But up to that point, people who run those departments end up building fiefdoms and saying, I need more people. The thing that you can do is shadow pretty much, if you get the chance to shadow everybody in your business and find out what they do. So that might be from resources, from recruiters. You will find parts of that process, which there is a thing that you asked them to do 5 years ago. It was the most important thing that they did that you haven't looked at for 3 years, that takes time from them, or you've got a bit of technology that you can get at the press a button, but you're still asking them to do that. You will find parts of the process where you're thinking, well, that's just ridiculous. Why don't we just do it this way? So if you will find what people are doing, there will be elements of you're just not working hard enough. You think doing 10 of these is really hard. I reckon I could do 1,000. Right. So you just find out what is actually going on. So get underneath the bonnet of your business, and then you'll make those informed decisions. But I do like the idea of taking everything away and just seeing the recruiters bleating, giving it old, yeah, but I love that. We should have used it. Shoulda, coulda. Don't leave me. Shoulda, coulda.
Woulda. There we go.
Brilliant. And I think the final note is get an FD, right? Get some sort of contract FD and live or die by cash forecasting.
Absolutely. Yeah. Look, what you're saying about the efficiencies and the bottlenecks in a business, until you find those out, you think everything's running well, and that you do have to roll up your sleeves and look under the bonnet. You started it, you lived it. Don't detach yourself too much from it.
Brilliant. Until next time. Bye.